Well, it's official. It's time to get started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on. This is our national Zoom property tour. We do these every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. My name is Scott Buckholz. I am your host today. I also have Yas Hakan, who's our co-host. And we've got folks on, looks like from all over the country. Welcome on, Renee from New York. Uh, welcome on and getting on today, guys. I think this is going to be a great hour of your day today that you're going to get to spend with us. We have a fantastic property tour lined out. Yvonne is going to be sharing her property deal, her buy and hold up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So let's go ahead. As we only have an hour, we'll keep these to an hour. Do want to remind everybody, please keep your phones on mute, as that really helps with background noise as Yvonne goes through and goes over her deal and talks about basically giving us her story and everything. So Yvonne, can you go ahead and share your screen and come out?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
There you are.
Here I am.
We are doing fantastic. So glad to have you out this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's
well, before you share your screen or your slideshow, can we go back to see you?
Oh, sure. Let me stop share. Here I am.
There you go. There you go. We only had like 10 seconds. You were gone. Well, again, it's so exciting to have you out on a property tour. I know we've been working on getting you set up and getting the timing right. And today is the day. And I can't wait for you to tell your story and to tell about this deal and just basically kind of what's going on, because it is a great deal and you've got a really cool strategy set up. So, you know, Yvonne, as we talked earlier, there's a lot of people on today that are our guests that are first time folks who've never been on a property tour. Maybe they've never seen anything from our community before. So it's kind of like their first chance to check things out. And so it's always neat to kind of, you know, share who you are, because, you know, being on your first property tour with us, you know, most people on don't know who you are. And so why don't you, by kicking this off, tell us a little bit about kind of like what your backstory is, kind of what you've been doing that has led you up to become a real estate investor. Maybe a little bit about why you chose to be a real estate investor. And the biggest thing is that I always love sharing, and I know what my story is, but why did you get involved with this community of investors? And so if you want to kind of take us through that, and that would be great.
Okay. It's a lot, but we'll get started. I'll make sure to keep it to a minimum. Again, thank you very much. I am honored to be here with everyone today. I am originally from Brooklyn, New York. I have been a resident in Long Island for some time. And I was a nurse tech specialist in the nursing field for almost 16 years. And overworked, underpaid, living from paycheck to paycheck, single mom, working crazy hours, multiple jobs. I believe I had about, you would say 3, but 2.5 jobs at the time. And I was at a crossroads where it just wasn't working out for me. Not enough to, you know, keep a roof over my head, let alone, you know, I had a child to provide for. And, you know, working multiple jobs at that time, it was cutting into the time between, you know, me and my child. Barely had any time to do anything in life at all. I got introduced to the real estate investing community by my little sister. She knows that I have an entrepreneur mindset. I'm always looking for ways to make extra money, to make a better living for my child and myself. And she kept telling me, attend this introduction, you're going to like it. And it took me about a month for me to do that. And I got introduced to the community, and just the things that I've heard at that time just threw light bulbs off. Getting involved in real estate investing, what is that? What is real estate investing? Had no clue. Um, and as I realized, getting into that field was going to be the beginning of this whole big new journey that I'm on right now. Um, it's been a game changer. This is my first deal. It being part of the community and what I've learned, things that I didn't know that was achievable, what could be done, things that I've learned being part of the community and having access to the education and understanding that these are things that should be taught in school and we don't know about. But long story short, finally able to land my first deal. Thank you to my family member, my little sister that did introduce me to the community. And it took me a while, but it has begun. So
That is so awesome. What a great story. Your story is most likely resonating with, several people on today. You were working 2.5 jobs, working in the nursing field, plus working additional jobs, single mother, trying to make ends meet. And, you were just at a point where you're like, something's got to change. I got to do something different. And there's a lot of people out there like that. I mean, so again, I'm so glad you shared that story because I know it will resonate with a lot of people on today. And so you found this community through your sister, your younger sister, and you went to a meeting. You went to what we call an introduction that basically introduces you to our community and what we're all about and how we help each other and how we collaborate and how we learn together and how we base our relationships around education and knowledge. And so obviously this is great timing for me to also mention for everybody on, as you go through today's property tour and you listen to Yvonne talk about things, if you'd like to learn more about what and experience what Yvonne did going to an introduction meeting, we actually have something right after this. It's on a different Zoom link that you can get back with whoever invited you, and you can connect on that, and you can go through and experience what Yvonne did when she went to a meeting. So that's right after this. It starts at about 5 after the hour, and just get back with who invited you, and they can get you all set up. Like I said, it is a different Zoom link, so you will need to connect with somebody who invited you. But Yvonne, so you went to an introduction, you got started, you got plugged into the community, and you started learning through your education, and now you're doing your first deal.
I'm doing the first deal.
And I know you could probably spend 2 hours just talking about everything that led up to you closing on this deal, all the things you had to wait for and go through and all the above, right? But I know you had a lot of challenges in the beginning, but you were very persistent, and you knew this was going to be a good deal, so you stuck with it. And so how did you find the property? That's always something that people are curious about. Like, how'd you find that deal? How did you find it? I'm having a hard time finding deals. So how did you find? Because you live in Long Island,
Yeah.
and you found this deal out at Wilkes-Barre, PA, which is what, 3 hours, 2.5 hours?
Roughly 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, depending on traffic. But the way on how it's interesting enough, and it's so powerful of what a community can do, especially pertaining to real estate investing, and surrounding yourself by like-minded individuals and people who just want to push you. If you're really serious about it, you're going to put in the work. So one of our leaders in the community, Carlos, put out a challenge. So a bunch of us attended this challenge on, landing a deal in 30 days. It started in February. Some of us teamed up and then some of us did it on our own. Me and also another community member, Ron, we teamed up together, just to cut costs because we're all, looking to land our own deal. It was really, really interesting. We basically farmed the areas, the states, and where we wanted to look for, and calls, emails, just the whole spreadsheets. We were held accountable. It was a serious challenge, but within about, I would say, within about 2 weeks, a week and a half in, that's how we got access to the tired landlord. He was, nothing was on the market or anything, but he was, open to a conversation on selling. It's in Wilkes-Barre, PA. And, by the time we got him on the phone, we spoke with him, interesting story. He did have tenants on the premises that he was helping individuals out during COVID. He was getting paid under market value for rent. And then also the property was being devalued, getting trashed. We actually had to go in to view the property undercover as appraisers in order to get pictures of the inside, just to get a walkthrough with that. So Scott, would you like me to show that now on
Well, yeah, we will. We'll jump into that here in just a second. So
okay.
you found this deal through just making phone calls, checking out, and this was a landlord that this property wasn't actually on the market. You just had a conversation with this owner, correct? With the landlord, and it kind of developed into something. It actually developed into a deal, right?
Yes, exactly what it did.
Awesome. I love that story because I hear that a lot of times. I was talking to somebody in our community the other day, and one of the things they do is they literally, like, if they've got a market area, a place where they want to do deals in, they'll literally take afternoons out, like one afternoon a week, and they'll drive around and they'll call all the for rent signs.
Mm-hmm.
So anything they see that's out for rent, especially in a yard, they'll call those for rent signs, and they've got more than one deal doing that. And they find landlords that are like, yeah, I'd be open for a discussion of selling it. And so that's awesome, Yvonne. I'm so glad that everybody heard that because it really does work.
Yes.
And very neat, very neat. So let's definitely, let me take a quick peek at picture, or let's see if are at questions here. What Dave Johnson's asking, what kind of a list were you calling from? How'd you come up with your list? How did you get, nothing too detailed because we don't have the time. How did you find this landlord's name and number?
When we were introduced to the challenge by Carlos, he recommended some systems for us to use. And we actually found this landlord through Smarter Contacts. So, you basically farm the area, you upload your spreadsheets, you get access, you the whole, do I need to tell those secrets?
No, well, you're just sharing. That's kind of what we do on this.
So you do get access to the individual's names, telephone numbers, so that you can be able to send out a text blast. So that's what Smarter Contact does. When you send out a text blast with a small little detailed message, if the person is interested on wanting to sell the property, if they are the owner of that property, and you know, some of them, you know, you get some negative responses, and then others, you know, they're open to it, but then it's, you know, some are good, some are bad.
I
So
love it. I love it. So you made a comment earlier about the challenge and about just willing to put the work in. And it's obviously you guys put the work in, and
yes.
you specifically put the work in. So yeah, so you found this deal, you got a good conversation going on with the landlord, you were able to put this under contract. And so yeah, if you'd like to show, I think it'd be good timing. We're about 20 minutes in. If you want to show the pre-pictures, because I mean,
Mhm.
that would be awesome.
Okay, so don't show the quick video walkthrough. Let me stop this share here.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah, if you want to show what it looked like when you went in as the undercover appraiser, I think that's really funny. As you went in as the undercover, it works. It works.
All right, so it's a quick video, 2 minutes and 27 seconds.
Yeah, and if you want to say things as you go through, you can.
So they
So,
had a lot of pets, pit bulls, dogs in cages, just a lot of things all over the place. There wasn't an area in this house that, as you can see here in the roof, they had some leaking issues. They got a plumber to apparently fix it, but the hole never got patched up. This is the master bedroom here. Just a quick walkthrough. We couldn't stay into the rooms too long, of course, because the people were still home. Um, as you can see, it's just a lot of rubbish. At the time that we went in, this is the half a bath. At the time that we went in, it looked, I guess, somewhat decent at that time, as opposed to when it was turned over. This is the child's bedroom. That's the second room.
a
And
lot of stuff.
a lot of stuff. This is the full bath. Yeah, skip the video a little bit. This is the basement, but the basement, as you can see, is packed with just
Oh my gosh, yes.
things.
Did you tell me even after the tenants moved out, you had to get like 6 dumpsters?
Yeah, it came up. This is the attic. This is one half of the attic. It turned out to be about 6 dumpsters in order to get all of the garbage out of the house, from the basement all the way to the attic, and then also because it's such a huge yard, there was a lot of garbage as well in the yard, and also in the 5 storage units in the back that you can see there. So it was a lot of stuff to get rid of. It took about almost 2.5 weeks roughly, to get all of the garbage out of the property. As you can see here, they put on an addition in the back, you know, which needs to come out as well to get fixed. But there was a lot going on with that property there. Uh, let me pull up the other pictures.
So after actually getting it under contract, the tenant moving out, you have 2 to 3 weeks of just remaining on. And as most people know that have ever, you know, dealt with something like that at that level, I got a couple that were really out of all the junk, and to get them to the kind of spooky. And
You're breaking
long
up,
pants and hot socks. And,
Scott. We're losing you,
can you,
Scott.
yes, can you hear me?
I can't quite make your the connection is bad.
How about now?
That's perfect.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So no, what I was saying was, you know, I've had a few myself that were even, believe it or not, worse than that, where you couldn't get from one room without walking on top of all the junk. and there was not even a path in the carpets, or the floor to get somewhere throughout the house. So it took you a while to get it all out. And once you got it out, then you got a better view of, you might have, did you come up with any things that you didn't know that you couldn't see the first time that were like gonna, whether there were holes or damage or water damage or things like that that you came across?
There were some things that we did uncover. Let me share my screen. There were a lot of things we did uncover. I know this is the porch here. We just get through. I'm going to skim really quickly because I know that we do have an hour. So this is the basement with all of the rubbish in there. This is when it got cleaned out. This is one of the garages cleaned out, the storage units. I'm going to skim through really quickly. As you can see, it was a lot going on in this house. IV bags. This is the stairs heading up to the attic. This is half of the attic. The porch. It was just a lot. Dog bowls. Again, I'm going to skim through really quickly so that we don't waste too much time. What was left in the cupboards. The attic again, the rest of the rubbish that was left there. This is the other side of the attic. Come to find out, 3 of the windows have been knocked out. Pretty interesting.
Now, honestly, there would have been a lot of investors, Yvonne, that would have walked away and not done this deal. They would have said, wow, this is way too much.
Yes. Yes. This is the back of the house. Of course, it was never protected. So we are dealing with a little bit of wood rot there. That wasn't noticeable the first time when I had visited the property. It was a lot going on in the attic. So of course I'm a skim pass. This is the view from outside of you can see the window on the roof from there. So I'm just going to skim through a lot of these really quickly. It's just a bigger view of the attic and what the person was doing that they were living up there. You can see blankets attached to the ceiling there. I can honestly say this deal has taught me a lot of lessons. Thank God for education. This is the master bedroom. Once they started to clean out all of the rubbish going on in there. This is the back porch.
So Yvonne, Yvonne, did you have a challenge getting the tenants out?
So there was a little bit of tug of war, I guess I would call it. It took them about 2 additional months for them to leave. But thank goodness, while it took 2 additional months for them to leave, there was still a lien on the property that needed to be satisfied. So even though it took that duration of that time, thank goodness that both of those 2 issues was happening at the same time. So once the lien was satisfied, the tenants were making their way off of the premises. It took them about roughly, I think about 2.5 weeks or so in order for them to get all of their stuff out. So you can only imagine if they had, trucks removing whatever it is that they were removing, and then the amount of things that they left behind. That was my wonderful gift. There was some flooding.
Oh, go ahead. Talk about that. Yes.
Yes. So after the tenants, the closing was complete, the tenants moved out. When I actually went out and was able to get a full walkthrough of the property, the pipes were running. So I did the best we could to lock off the pipes, because when we walked in, it was little bit of a flood because a washer and dryer used to be here, and right above there, that's the half a bath. So there is some potential water damage because of course that half a bath behind there, that's where the wood rot, as you can see from behind that house, because this is the add-on extension that was done a few years back by the previous owner. So
So, one really good question here from C. Lee. So, what was it about this deal that you chose to go ahead and take this challenge on?
so for me, I I'm not really looking for a quick fix. For me, it's building generational wealth and building wealth the right way. I wanted a long-term investment as opposed to a short-term quick fix. When I looked at the property, there were so many opportunities, especially where it is. There are, there's colleges right around the corner. There are local hospitals around the corner. The 5 storage space detached in the back there for additional bonus money. It was where this house sits and the opportunities that could be done with this house is the reason why I decided. And then on top of that, the purchase price is a portion on why I couldn't pass it up.
Sure. Now, earlier on, for folks who maybe weren't on in the very, very beginning, you've got a background. You were 16 years approximately in the nursing field. And you got a really great strategy with this property. So why don't you kind of dive into that, because that's really we definitely want to share that, not run out of time and not talk about that.
Yes. So with the property, basically, I plan to rent it out to midterm traveling nurses. The property has already been mentioned to 2 local hospitals. The laws in PA are very much different from the state of New York. You sort of do need to have contracts in place. You can't just put people within a property and just rent it out and say, hey, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to put people in it. You have to follow the laws of that state. By talking with several contractors that I had interviewed, a lot of them have a lot of close-knitted ties with the towns, and it made a lot of sense being able to put the property and present the potential of what they could do on the premises. So I found out that the hospital basically pays about 75% of the traveling nurses' expenses for the duration of the time that they will be staying there for their term. And then the nurse is responsible for the remaining 25%. Which makes it a win-win situation, for both. The nurses have some place local to stay, they have a place to park their car. There's more than enough space for them to, casual around, the things that are around within the area that they have access to. So it just made it a win-win situation. And then also I can be able to get more for the rent in order to maintain the property and its expenses.
Awesome. So if everybody's hearing that, okay, her strategy, and then of course she's got real close ties to that as being a nurse herself for 16 years. This is you hear this all the time, that there's an opportunity out there if you go about it the right way, which you are. You're contacting hospitals, you're getting this all, even though you're in the middle of this whole rehab, you're going to start setting up relationships and rent this out to nurses. And so you basically rent it out by the room, correct? For people
Yes.
on. So they're renting like student housing, where they rent it their bedrooms. They're renting their bedroom. And so this house will have how many bedrooms and bathrooms?
3 bedrooms. It has 1.5 bath right now. The half a bath is going to be turned into a second full bathroom. A standing shower would be added in there.
Awesome. So 3 bed, 2 bath. So you'll be able to rent it to 3 individuals, traveling nurses at the same time, and be able to collect that monthly fee. I know we're going to go over the numbers here in a little bit, and we had a couple questions pop in here real quick. Let me grab those. So somebody's talking about cash flow. We will get to the numbers at the end, guys. So I know everybody always wants to jump to those right away, see how much money you're making, how much you acquired it for, all that stuff, funding. Yeah, she'll talk about funding. And so someone asked who did the funding for you. We don't talk about funding names or private lender names here, guys. Or we don't even, if it's a hard money loan, we don't bring those out. You guys need to do your own due diligence and look for your own, lending. I know Yvonne will talk a little bit about being a part of this community, how much it helped her find funding. So let's see what else. Someone says there is a website for traveling nurses furniture finder. I think I've heard of that. Yeah, I don't know if that's how it's spelled out, but are you familiar with that, Yvonne? Is there an actual website for traveling nurses?
Yes, I've heard of it, and then there are like several groups on Facebook. They tend to utilize the properties that that they frequent, so they will refer to one another, which is good because then it gives good credibility. But there are a few of them on Facebook and a few sites, yes.
Absolutely. So, and now is this property, does it have an HOA?
No.
Yeah, okay. Furnished Finders, that's correct. Yeah, I just put it in the chat room. It's called Furnished Finders. Very good. And then the other question Veronica's asking.
Scott?
Bathroom.
Scott? Did we lose him?
What's that?
Okay, I can hear you now. You cut out for a little bit there.
Sorry about that. The question was, would it be worth and bring enough value to add a third bathroom? Had you thought about that?
I have thought about that, but that will most likely come later on down the line.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So I think I've hit pretty much most of the questions in the chat room. Now, did you already show everybody the pictures of the what it looked like after you were completely cleaned out?
I had stopped share, so let me reshare again. And I'll just pass through these really quickly. So I think this is where it.
Yeah, I think everybody got a pretty good idea of what it looked like when you walked it the first time.
Yes. So this is the dining room here. You get more clarity as to what's going on. The living room and to the front of the house. You just show me the conditions of the floor. This is the walkway when you come through the front door. The stairs. Front of the house. Bathroom, for some reason they, at that time they did not want to get to it. It's a little disgusting. This is one of the 3 of the bedrooms. So eventually they ended up pulling up the carpets to clean out of the kitchen. They left a fridge full of food. A bit of the yard here was cleaned out. As you can see, the rubbish is gone from the back porch. Found out that I have a water fountain out of all the rubbish there. The basement, as you can see, all of the garbage has been cleaned out from. It's more spacious. This is the attic after everything got cleaned out from in there. So one thing that we did notice after all of the garbage was removed from the attic, the floors in the attic does need to be reinforced. It's not stable. So the stairs were removed at that time. All the carpeting has been taken up. The railing, I'm sorry. As you can see here, the floor in the attic, unsafe to walk on. Master bedroom.
Now, did you use an inspector?
Yes. A user inspector. When the inspector went in, he's really good. He did the best that he could do. But he did realize the situation we were facing because of the condition of the house. And then, the inspection was done while the people were still living on the property. All of the carpet has been taken up from the walkways. So
Another really good question here is because we all, as we go through, each deal is different, obviously. So this being your first deal, and obviously, having those challenges that you've had so far, you had a lot of challenges before you even were able to take possession of the property, but even after you take possession, is there any things that you've learned that you want to share that you would do differently, or anything like that?
It definitely has been a learning experience. I can honestly say getting into your first deal, it's different. You have all of the education, but when you're actually applying it, that's when it really starts to put you to the test. I can stop share here, right? That's when it really starts to put you to the test. With the support of the community and the team, I am immensely grateful for, each and every single one of those people who played a part on saying, hey, you know what, push through and get it done. Because it took a while. We found this deal in February. I've only acquired this property like just roughly about a month, right? But having access to the education, I can honestly say, real estate foundations that Hughes Arresi goes through. Again, I came from a background, no knowledge of real estate investing, going into buy and hold day one and day two, rehabbing day one, day two, negotiations, especially having to negotiate, because I going back and forth with the seller, got a little testy from time to time, and tax and legal. So, using, the education has definitely helped me to get through this. And it was interesting enough. It's funny, I'm not a lawyer. And, the lawyer that I did have for the closing, it's an interesting story that, if I didn't dive into the education, the mistakes that she could have made, that could have been a potential problem for myself. That's a whole nother story altogether, but knowing that I had to follow up with her and make sure that she executed it effectively so that it would have been a win-win situation, not only for myself, but also for the seller as well. So it's definitely a learning experience, and every deal is different, but this is the one that I'm comfortable with, that I know the way on how it's structured. It will definitely bring income for the long haul, and that's what I'm looking for. So
Brianna asked, it didn't sound like a lot. It's been a lot of fun. Is it truly worth your while for you to do this? And would you do this again? I already know your answer. Go ahead.
Absolutely. It was
right.
a headache, but you know what? It was worth it. Yes, absolutely.
I knew you would say that.
It's not. It's funny because people talk about all of this success that comes along with real estate investing and put all the pretty stuff forward, but they don't talk about what you would face as you're going through a deal, a potential deal, and getting that deal under contract, and then, just getting it to the closing table. So, but it's a fun process. It's a learning process. So I'm grateful.
That's neat. That's really neat. So, you talked a lot about what you've been able to learn from your education, how you've been able to apply that, and how it's helped you on this deal. I do want to throw out again for everybody that's on, if you're a guest today and you're checking out our community and you're checking out this property tour and you'd like to learn more about our community, right after our property tour today at 5 after the hour, it's on a different link, so you need to get back with who invited you, and they can get you that Zoom link, and you can attend that, and you can learn more about our community and how we help each other collaborate, how we learn together, how we do deals together. So let's kind of jump in, as we're about 20 till the top of the hour here. Let's kind of jump into your strategy again. For everybody on, you're going to target traveling nurses. You work through the hospitals to get contracts in place. And are those contracts, are they 90 days typically? Are they 6 months? Are they 9 months? Are they a year? Do they vary?
So what I found out is that it really depends on the department that they're working in. So it varies from the nurse's standpoint and the position that they're taking on the field. That
Gotcha.
determines the contract that I would be providing to them. So if it's 30 days, if it's 90 days, 60 days, it's for the duration of their term, their stay, on what it would be.
So you could basically, your 3 different, since it's a 3-bedroom, your 3 different traveling nurses could all have different terms. So you could have one leave earlier than the other 2, someone else come in, the second person go. So it's not just like a year contract or 9 months or something like that. It all depends on the contract itself and what they're there to do.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, you've also mentioned something about the bonus. You've got 5 basically storage garages that you're going to use to generate income from, correct?
Yes.
Now, are those garages large enough? Are those garages large enough to hold a vehicle?
Yes. Just a average size car or a sedan. Nothing too big and elaborate. The standard size. Yes.
Yeah, because we had someone on our property tour a year and a half ago that had 3 garages. 2. They had 2, and they were renting them out. One of them they were renting for $100 a month, and somebody was keeping their sports car in it. And they wanted a safe place to keep it that they could lock and keep out of the weather. Right. So it really opens up a lot of opportunity for you of what you could store. It doesn't necessarily going to be the traveling nurses. It can be a whole separate thing. And that's very cool. And so you have 5 of those that you can generate. And I think you were talking about even a figure of, if you had all 5 rented out, you could generate up to $600 a month.
Yes.
And we're going to get to those numbers here right now. So again, traveling nurses is who you're targeting, who's your mark or your niche that you're going after. And then you've got the storage, and then you've got a huge parking area as well, correct?
Yep, a very long, you can, the way on how it's set up, you can park about maybe 3 cars in 2 rows if you park them correctly. Not parked correctly, it could be about 3 to 4 cars. That's how long the driveway is, from when you come in from the street, heading straight up to the storage space.
Absolutely. That's really nice. Well, all right. So right before we get into numbers, I think I had one more question, and then we'll jump into those. So this is a really good question. This is the one I did definitely wanted to get back to. Is so how did you, because this is different for everybody, but for you, Yvonne, being a single mom, and how did you transition from having two and a half or three jobs into doing real estate?
Ooh. I don't suggest anybody to do this. Okay, this is just what I did. I was fed up. Okay, when I finally made the decision, first I saved enough money to get access to the education. Um, and I started off, I know I needed to start, so I started off with the payment plan, afforded what I could get access to. Situations started to arise, and I ended up just not wanting to do it anymore. I made the decision with $14.76 in my account when I made that decision. I didn't go back. Everybody thought I was crazy,
Wow.
and I stuck it out. I moved back home with my mom. I told her what I was going to do. Told her that I needed some assistance. Mom never throws you away. So, but every day it was, I guess, a test. Every day she kept throwing at me, this place is hiring, that place is hiring. And I'm saying, no, I'm not going back. I'm going to do real estate investing. I don't know anything about it as of yet. I'm just going to dive into my classes, and this is going to work. I don't know how it's going to work. It's going to work. I don't suggest anybody to do this, please. If you have a good 9-to-5 job and you're trying to get started, get access to the education while you're working your 9-to-5, and make it that way. But that's just how it worked out for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So let's go ahead and pull up the numbers.
Yes.
I'll bring those up. All right. Can you see those?
Mhm.
Yvonne, can you see the numbers?
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes, I can see them. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Pat said yes. He can see them too. Okay. So go ahead and why don't we go through these?
Okay. All right. So the purchase price of the property, yes, as you can see, 47K. Basically how that worked out, the previous owner had that was the amount left from his existing mortgage. It made sense to just basically bring the property, free and clear, buy it out. Being that I have access to a community of investors, thank you. I'm saying thank you. I know I'm not allowed to call any names, but I'm saying thank you for believing. She, basically lended towards the purchase of the property, and then also towards the repairs for the property. After repair value, the property will be worth about 120. That's, basically lowballing it right now until everything is done. Holding costs between, just the things in PA are pretty cheap. So between the gas, the property manager, the sewage, the cleaning, cleaning person that would be coming in and cleaning the property, because of course, the traveling nurses that would be in and out, water, Wi-Fi, the holding costs would be about 700 a month. The money cost, yes, 8,040. Okay. Which is what would be an additional to what I would be giving back to my lender. So the potential rent is 1,200 per room. So what I did was, and I remember Carlos laughing at me about it at that time, in farming the area. Of course, it was my first deal, and going through everything, just finding out what is the market, what's the value for rent. Luckily, where the house sits, because of where it is within the area, I'm able to charge about $1,100 to $1,200 per room. If the house was located about 2 blocks further, that price would have went down to $600. So it's we got lucky with that. The storage unit, what I plan to do, $150 to $100 a month. So that's the bonus. 600, additional on top of the 1,200. The potential cash flow, with each room being rented $1,200 per room, that's $3,500 a month. So that's those are the numbers for that property. You still make good cash flow. Yes. Thank you, Matt. Yes. Scott?
Yes, I was letting you finish up there. So yeah, so everybody, so again, for everybody on, you know, I just love that this is, something that Yvonne really had a passion for, being in the nursing field, is to be able to, supply or to provide really clean, nice um, living conditions for traveling nurses. And I know that's become really, really big. There's a lot of folks out there that are in the medical field that travel now. And so this is awesome, Yvonne. This has been a great, great property tour. And it's been the stories, just obviously I learned a lot today, from what you shared, and specifically learned a lot about your story and kind of what you've gone through. So yeah, the operating expenses, and the operating expenses, are you including taxes, insurance, maintenance, things like that in $700?
Yes.
Yeah. So good update. Let's see, this community is so amazing. I agree, Sharon, absolutely. A lot of compliments, Yvonne. A lot of people are just so excited for you, and just great to see what you're doing here. As we wrap up, Yvonne, we've got over 100 people on today, and how would you or what would you like to leave people with? Because you got people on today, that either just got started with our community, maybe, and have not done a deal yet. And you got people on that are checking us, the community out and the property tour out. What would you give them advice, or what would you leave everybody with today in this last couple minutes?
Shoot for your dreams. Don't let fear hold you back. Become a risk taker, but a responsible risk taker. And surround yourself with like-minded individuals, especially those who are willing to hold your best interest at heart. To be honest, being tied with a community, with real estate investors, they are my team. Those are the individuals who I confide in, that has pushed me to move forward. It's not an easy journey, and it's not a quick fix. But if you're looking to transform your life, create opportunities in your life, especially if you have children, or elderly family members, building generational wealth, breaking, just real estate is the best way to go. And there's so many things that you can learn that can help to transform your life in so many ways. Right now I work from home. So, I'm an entrepreneur. And if I can do it with just starting off with $14.77 in my account, and you believe in yourself, and you're going to stay consistent, you can do it too. It is achievable for anyone. You can do it as well. So get started. That's the key, getting started, and holding yourself accountable to keeping yourself motivated and pushing yourself forward, no matter what. no matter what.
What an awesome leading remark. I do want to remind everybody we will be back next Saturday, as we do these every Saturday. And we've got another really cool property tour lined out for you guys for next Saturday. We're actually going to be going up to Minnesota. So we're going to be jumping from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, up to Minnesota. And we are going to be sharing with you guys a resort acquisition. So we have members in our community that have acquired resorts and that they're using for rentals. And so this is going to be an awesome tour next Saturday. You definitely want to plug into that. And because, you know, if you've never thought about that, you know, it's just, there's so many different strategies and things you can do in real estate investing. So I can't wait for it, guys. So you guys, everybody have a wonderful weekend. Weather here in the Midwest is still beautiful. Here in Pennsylvania, it's in the 70s. It's just gorgeous. I don't know if it's raining up your way, Yvonne, or if it's sunny, but it's gorgeous here. And everybody just remember, we've got our clocks being shifted this tomorrow. I think 2 a.m. So guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy with family. And we appreciate you, Yvonne, so very much for being out. Thank you for sharing everything. And we can't wait to have you out on your next deal.
Thank you. Yes, I will be there live.
All right.
Love you, Liz.
All right. Good.
Love you, Yvonne.
Goodbye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Scott. You guys are
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you.
Thank you
you,
so
everybody.
much, everyone.
Congratulations, Yvonne.